verse reminds me of my Mimi. 2 Timothy 4, verse 7. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race, and I have kept my faith.
Mimi was such an amazing grandmother. I feel so lucky to have gotten to share so much of my life with her, and I'll always treasure the time we had together. Mimi was always someone I felt safe with, and I knew I could go to her for anything. Whether it was to cry or celebrate, she was always there for me. She never showed weakness, but she always had a tender heart. She never showed judgment, and always had an open ear. She never forced her opinion, but always had the best advice. She wasn't always strong, but she always showed her strength. She was the best role model as a mother, grandmother, wife, and friend, and I aspire to be more like her throughout my life, and will always hold on to everything that she ever taught me. I always thought I got my competitive nature from my mom and grandpa, but recently, as I was reflecting, I realized Mimi played a bigger hand in it than I ever realized. When I was little, I spent my time at Mimi and Krueger's either playing games, doing puzzles, or eating, which quickly became and still are three of my favorite things to do. Mimi taught me how to play Chinese checkers, and how to do puzzles. In my early years, she would always let me win, which led me to believe that I was pretty darn good at both checkers and Chinese checkers, and also made me realize how much I loved to win. One day after years of playing and me winning, she decided not to go easy on me anymore, and showed me a taste of the losing side. I was shocked, and even though I did not like the taste of losing, I'm pretty sure I never beat her in another round of checkers, Chinese checkers, or anything else in my life again. Mimi and I continued to put puzzles together throughout the years. Once I got tired of doing all the puzzles she had in her house, she once again stepped up the game and began setting timers to see how quickly I could complete them. This love for puzzles has stuck with me my entire life, and still to this day, I sit down and race myself to complete a puzzle as fast as I can. Other than playing games with her, I spent a significant amount of my time at her house waiting, not very patiently, on a bar stool on the end of her island in her kitchen. Rick and I would race each other to those chairs growing up, and we were never once disappointed by one of Mimi's meals she would give us. She honestly had the magic touch, so magical that she could make something so simple as a piece of bread with butter on it, and we would look at it like it was the most beautiful meal we'd ever seen. Her signature meal in our eyes was and forever will be her Kraft mac and cheese straight out of the box. She put the right amount of love into it and the Mimi magic touch, and no one will ever be able to make it taste as good as she did. Trust me, I've been trying to for years. She continued to serve us her mac and cheese, our grapes that were cut in half so we didn't choke, and a hand-churned chocolate milkshake up until the recent years when she physically couldn't anymore. When I was little, I got to take a couple of trips, just the two of us, to Lampasas, her hometown. I wish I was older, so I had more memories of those trips, but a story that she always told me was the night she told me we were having chicken for dinner. I said, Mimi, I do not like chicken. Regardless, because Mimi always knew best. She still served me a plate of chicken with some ketchup on the side. But of course, it wasn't the chicken I was used to, it was fried chicken. Well, I had never had fried chicken before, and apparently after I took one bite, I looked at her and said, well, Mimi, I still don't like chicken, but I love fried chicken. And that was something we had in common. Aside from our trips to Lampasas and the ranch, the best trip I have ever been on with my grandmother was a girls' trip to New York City. It was just the five of us girls, my mom, Kiki, Brooke, Mimi, and me. We truly did it all that trip, from Broadway plays, ice skating at the Rockefeller Center, to shopping and having tea and cupcakes at the cutest tea rooms. It was a trip of a lifetime with my favorite people and her favorite girls. I'll always remember the energy and joy my grandmother had on that trip. We would walk for miles in the cold, and she always seemed to be one step ahead of us. In her last week in hospital, she told my mom and my aunt that that trip was her favorite trip she's ever taken. Hearing that melted my heart, and reminded me just how lucky we were to have gotten to make so many memories with her that will last no longer here with us, I miss her terribly. I already miss not having her at events that haven't even occurred yet, like upcoming holidays, my wedding, and the birth of my future children. But one thing I'll never doubt is just how much she loved me and how proud she was of all of us.
The night that my mom called me to tell me the news, I remember slumping down on my bedroom floor expecting to be hit by a wave of sadness. And that sadness did eventually come, knowing the severity of what was happening. But more than anything, I sat there on the floor and I had a sense of peace. A sense of peace knowing that my Mimi, one of the kindest, gentlest people that I had ever known, had no more pain or suffering to endure in this world. A sense of peace that my Mimi was standing at the gates of heaven, walking through, meeting Jesus on the other side with a smile from ear to ear. My grandmother taught me and my sister so much about Jesus in not only her words but her actions. This was one of the truly greatest things about her. They said that there are certain people who radiate Jesus in everything they do, and Mimi was certainly one of those people. I miss my Mimi so much. I cherish the phone calls that we got to have with each other. I cherish the times we came down to Houston, or the times that she was in Plano, or even the times that we managed to get her down to the ranch. I miss calling her on the weekends and talking about country music, school, my family, my job, or our faith. I miss hearing the joy in her voice when she either got to tell me that she played a game of bridge that day, or that Krueger was coming home from the golf course in just a few hours. But the memories do not just date back to the last few weeks or months. Over the years, I remember countless moments that my sister and myself had with Mimi that bring a smile to my face. Playing cards on the living room floor, playing checkers, birthday parties, school events, always being offered ice cream after dinner, which was incredible. My introduction to the hit TV show, Whose Line Is It Anyway? And of course, like Skylar said, her delicious cooking. If everyone in heaven could have a bowl of that mac and cheese, it really is something special. Skylar did a good job of telling that. My grandmother was a fighter, as is my grandfather. They taught my own mom how to be a fighter, which is something I can never thank them enough for. One of the strongest people I've ever met in this world, my Mimi was an inspiration to her children, to her grandchildren, and to everyone that was blessed with an interaction with her. It breaks my heart to see my Mimi gone from this world, but just as Mimi would have hoped it happened, Jesus has calmed my fears of the unknown. I'll miss my grandmother so much, just like I know my family will as well. But family is the key word to this entire gathering. Mimi's lasting legacy will be through the family that she raised and she kept together. Mimi was a foundation for each and every family member, and we couldn't be more honored to have her in our lives and to be speaking about her right here today. Mimi, we love you so much, and I love you so much. Thank you for everything.
My grandmother and I have always had a very special relationship. We grew up just a few streets away. I got to see her all the time. I could ride my bike down there, hung out at the park. Krueger was my basketball coach, and it was just really unique being the first grandchild. I don't think it was a secret that me and her were extra close, and that she loved me, and I loved her. So, it's hard to talk about this, but we had so many countless memories growing up together, but really over the past 15 years, becoming an adult, becoming a man, she was there for me, and that was really important. So, when I was a teenager, I had a little bit of angst and a little bit of rebellious side, and sometimes felt that my parents didn't understand me or weren't listening to what I had to say, but she was always there. She was willing to hear me out and just give me judgmental-free advice, and what I told her I knew was a secret, and even if it wasn't a secret, it was to her, and that was really special. She was a great listener and truly one of my best friends. So as I got older and I needed, more advice and more help, I called my mom, but she was my go-to, and she was just such great company and fun to talk to. They say that when you talk to someone or your friend, you want to be with people that light up when you see them. And that's what she did. So I'd call, and every time I'd call, Krueger would answer the phone. He'd say, "Hello, darling." And I'd say, "Krueger, it's me." And he'd say, "Oh." Well, I'm scared. Every single time. And I would laugh on ahead. And he'd say, "Let me go get you, Mammy. Let me go get you, Mammy." She always lights up when you call, and I knew that was true. And even on her worst days, she would still talk to me and give me good advice and listen to what I had to say and share what we were watching on Netflix or anything. And so I got to know her very well. And again, just everything about her was so special. She wasn't like most people. She was my Mammy. She was our Mammy. And we're going to miss her dearly.